Hello. Today I wanted to talk about the labor theory of value, which is the central theory in Marxist economics. It is a theory of commodity production, and I'm going to be basing my analysis and explanation off of Dr. Richard Wolff's analysis and explanation given at Bard College, I believe. So the labor theory of value has a few different distinct types of labor. Embodied labor, or labor embodied in the raw materials of a product, as well as in the tools which are used to assemble said materials. For instance, someone had to create the hammer so that I could use the hammer to hammer nails into a chair. That's an example. So let's roll with that example. Let's say we're creating a wooden chair. Well, embodied labor would be embodied in the raw materials being the lumber used to cut the wood for the chair, the hammer used to hammer the nails, and the nails themselves, as well as any upholstery or anything else used to decorate or make the chair more comfortable. Living labor is defined as the labor that a worker puts into the materials to create the final product. This would be your effort hammering those nails, cutting the wood, doing all of these sorts of things, stapling the upholstery, and these sorts of things are your living labor. When you add the living labor to the embodied labor, you get the total labor, which is the full labor needed to create the final product, being a chair in our case. So if we attribute some values to these types of labor, let's say that all of the materials that you use up to create the final product, a chair, are worth 100 value. And the effort that you put in to assemble them into the final product is also 100. Because without your labor, there would be no chair. Nowadays, we have a lot of automation, which takes away from this sort of idea, but you get the gist. So if the embodied labor and the total labor are both 100 in value, then the final product would be 200 in value. The total labor would be 200 value. That being said, this is where the economic problem with capitalism comes in. The capitalist exploits the worker by not giving them the full value of their labor. So if your living labor is worth 100 value, you are not going to be paid back 100 value. Why not? Because the capitalist needs to cement their position at the top of the hierarchy, as well as investing in their own personal interest. The capitalist can't profit if they buy the embodied labor to provide for the worker. So if the capitalist contributes 100 value to this equation, being the embodied labor, then the worker contributes the other half of the total labor. In this 100 plus 100 equals 200 equation, the living labor is provided by the worker, while the embodied labor is provided by the capitalist. So if the capitalist is spending 100 value on whatever product is being produced, then they wouldn't be able to profit if they paid you the full value of your labor, the other 100. So how do capitalists profit? Capitalists profit by taking the surplus from the worker. What is surplus? The surplus is a portion, often the larger portion, of the living labor which the worker provides to the capitalist. So you are paid a fraction of the value that you create for a capitalist. Just to keep things simple, we'll take this equation and split the living labor value into two sections. The first being wages, which is what you are paid back, and we'll give that 50. And the other portion being the surplus, we'll give that 50. So by splitting up the living labor value and only paying you half in this scenario, the capitalist is able to take the other half and profit. What they use their profits for is often interesting. One example is lobbying. Capitalists will often lobby for bills which allow them to pollute more, allow them to exploit workers harder, or do other things. So with that being said, this is the full equation. Embodied labor plus living labor equals total labor. 100 plus 100 equals 200. But if you work for a capitalist, the only way they are able to profit is by only paying you a portion of what you create. So now you might have a question like, how do we fix this sort of thing? How do we make things fair for both the capitalist and the worker? Socialism seeks to fundamentally balance the equation. The labor theory of value in Marxian economics is used to illustrate how capitalists exploit the workers. However, using Marxist economics, we can balance the equation by eliminating the taking of the surplus. I think I saw this article about 3 or 4 weeks ago where a pizza shop owner gave the employees who made the pizzas the full value of their labor for a whole day, and they averaged something like $83 an hour. That just shows how much they take from you. So with that being said, this is going to be a short video since it's my first one. I hope you liked it. If you liked this video, please hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you know when I upload. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.